Welcome back to Murrow News 8. I'm Spencer Anderson with your latest sports update. The WSU women's basketball team advanced in the Pac-12 tournament after edging the Colorado Buffaloes 79-78 in the first round last night. The Cougars were led by sophomore Alexis Sweetland, who poured in a career-high 23 points, and she keyed an 18-0 run to start the second quarter after the team trailed by 14 points in the first. It actually was the fourth largest comeback in team history. And right now, the women are trying for their first ever win over Stanford in the second round of the tournament tonight. Well, head coach Marty Lease and the Cougar baseball team play their first home series of the season this weekend, and that series began today at 2 p.m. against Stephen F. Austin. They actually moved the start time up from 4 p.m. because of weather-related reasons. The game tomorrow starts at noon, and it's a doubleheader, so make sure to go out for both games, and on Sunday, the game starts at 1 o'clock. Well, the Cougars opened up their 2017 campaign with 7 road games in California, going 3-4 versus Sacramento State and Loyola Marymount. And catcher Corey Meyer looks to keep up his hot start. He's the only Coug hitting over 400 for the season so far. And finally, the Cougar men's basketball team plays in their final game of the regular season tomorrow night against number 3 UCLA inside Pauley Pavilion. The Cougars are 6-11 in conference play, and they're coming off an 87-64 loss against USC earlier this week. And Josh Hawkinson going for the all-time Cougar rebounding record. We'll see. I think he's just about 6 away from that record if he can get it on Saturday. Well, that's all the sports I have for you today. Coming up after the break, an Oscar-worthy prank, and take a listen to Ed Sheeran's new album. Stay tuned. Early 1916 lead for the Washington Huskies over the USC Trojans in the first round of the Pac-12 men's basketball tournament. Benny Boatwright was just called for the offensive charge, so Matisse Thybulle will inbound from his own baseline as they bring it across. The Huskies looking to extend a 3-point lead early on, shooting 66%, just 8 of 12. Green, nice fake on D'Anthony Melton. With the ball fake, was able to get a pass out to Thybulle. Back to Green on the left wing. 10 to shoot. Crisp stands at the top. Two-handed pass inside to Dime. Turns around floater from the right elbow rather. It falls away and the rebound goes to Rakocevic. USC brings it back under 11 to play, and they tried for a lob as Rakocevic thought that it went out of bounds off UW. It ends up going out of bounds off of him, but if he had had a better handle on it, we might have seen our fourth dunk, Aaron.
Yeah. Andy Enfield, when he came over from Florida Gulf Coast University, you might remember them in the tournament back in 2012, or rather, it was 2012. You might remember Dunk City, and right there, that was, he certainly employed that mentality down in Southern California.
Crisp on the other end for UW with a 3-point lead, looking to extend it with his team. Gets inside to Dickerson, driving baseline. Nice spin move and splits a double team, including getting it over Rakocevic. Dickerson with 6 points. I'll make it 8 points. 8 of the 21 for the Huskies. Their lead back to 5. 21-16 lead. Rakocevic nearly threw it away, but it's taken by Melton. Benny Boatwright stands, guarded by Dime, just puts up a 3-ball over the top of him, then he turns and showboats his way back. Looking at the UW bench, brings them with him 2. (21-19) UW on the other end offensively, looking for a basket. Dickerson throws it out to Crisp, off balance 3, and he answers Benny Boatwright. How about David Crisp? His 8th point and the answer.
Huskies shooting 64%, 67% after that make from both the field and the 3-point line. Hot start for Romar and his Huskies.
We'll see if Boatwright wants to answer. He steps inside a Dime and tried to go all the way to a slam on the baseline, but Dime is there to swat it away. Big block for Malik, and the Huskies bring it up. Again up by 5. Dime, of course, playing with his hand wrapped, still was able to get that one to fall, and Dickerson gets his 10th point, his 5th bucket on the other end, a floater to extend the lead to 7 and a timeout.
Yeah, that's a nice floater there, that left-handed hook shot by Noah Dickerson. He has 10. That's tied with Crisp, which leads the way. Those two guys have 20 of the Huskies' 26. Impressive showing from UW so far, considering they're without Markel Fultz. USC, however, they haven't shot horribly, 43%, 67% from behind the three-point line. They're still trying to get their ebb and flow out. Obviously, this is a team that likes to run, they like to dunk, and they like to shoot. So for USC, I think Andy Enfield's using this timeout right now just to get his guys energized and a little more focused and remind them, hey, if we lose today, not only do we go home, we might also be done for.
UW hitting their last 3 shots, 5 of the last 7. Right now shooting 68.8%. And I think the big thing right there was that Crisp answering Boatwright's big 3-ball, and then they're also answering each other's dunks. I mean, the energy that UW is bringing right now is apparent.
Yeah, from just the first 11 minutes or so, you wouldn't tell UW only won 2 conference games this year, and the fact that they're playing without arguably their best player.
USC controlling it, down 7. And a little pull-up floater from Metu does not fall, hits the right iron. And back with it is Crisp. Moving quickly, nearly had it taken away by Melton. He'll reset, though, as Johnson back into the game, so he's completely fine, as he had gone to the bench earlier to get looked at. Green knocked down away from the ball. Johnson kicks it out, and a 3-ball from Timmons. Actually, his foot was on the line. It didn't fall either way, and a rebound by Metu. 8:30 to play, first half. Down by 7. Kick out for 3. Boatwright in the left corner. Does not fall. But a rebound by, that was Jordan McLaughlin, and he answers to draw them within 5.
Yeah, he outbattled Sam Timmons right there, who overleapt for the rebound, and that just gave McLaughlin a wide open layup.
4
Fun
points.
game so far.
Yeah, 4 points for McLaughlin. It's a 26-21 UW lead. Looking to add to it as Crisp kicks it back out for Timmons. Dribbles once with his left hand, now kicks it out to the corner. Malik Dime right at the elbow as they're around the perimeter, 6 to shoot. Crisp pulls up from a 3. It does not fall from the right wing. Rebound going to Shaquan Aaron.
First miss of the day for Crisp, otherwise was 4 for 4 before that miss.
Boatwright with a spin and a kick out. Aaron trying a 3-ball on the other end, cannot fall, but what an effort to get the rebound from Milton. And USC resets on offense. Boatwright on the right wing, driving inside. Matched up against Timmons, and Timmons called for a foul, but before the shot was put up. That'll take us to a timeout, 7:35 to play. A 5-point UW lead. They're up 26-21 here in the first half on KUGR Cougar College Radio. Well, we're going to start out by talking, as usual, about our top 3 news stories, leading off with yesterday, the WSU women's basketball team played at Georgia Tech in the WNIT Final Four. At one point holding an 11-point lead thanks to, well, a lot of people, but mostly Alexis Sweetland. She had 21 points in less than 2.5 quarters of that game, and it looked like they were, again, with an 11-point lead like gangbusters, as June Doherty always likes to say, on their way to the WNIT championship.
Yeah, that was what I was noticing with it too. Like, Alexis Sweetland is one of those players that we've seen that when she gets hot, she gets hot. And we've seen her go on stretches where within like a quarter, she could dump 15 points on an opposing team. And also we've seen at times that she can go an entire quarter without scoring. The thing with her is that, yeah, she's a bit streaky, but when she gets on, she motivates her team. And honestly, her scoring is what really drives this team.
One of my favorite plays, as I was listening yesterday to Steve Grubbs call it, and I want to play it for you here from the Washington State IMG Sports Network, was Alexis Sweetland getting first of all, a block from Nike McClure, getting a great pass from Kayla Haley in the corner to sink another 3.
O'Neal drives down the lane. The kick out. Tilford gonna move in. Shot blocked away by Nike McClure. Pavlopoulos feeds it ahead to Haley. The pass outside to Sweetland for 3. Got it! 3 for Alexis Sweetland, and the Cougars have their biggest lead of the night.
Unfortunately, Steve, it would not last.
It would not, and for the lack of just saying that the Cougs couged it.
Oh, I'll say that.
Yeah, they did. But you know what? They put up a hard game, and honestly, I don't think anyone really expected they were going to make it even this far.
Exactly.
Like, no one expected them to get past the first round of it, and they made it into the Final Four. Like, And I would have loved probably as much as anyone else, except for maybe less than you would have, because I know you. But would have loved to see the Cougs in the WNIT championship, just to say that the Cougs are in a championship. You don't get to hear that very often.
Yeah.
But, it was a hard fight, and I love this team. Me and you have gotten to call so many of their games, and I had the privilege of calling their games down in Seattle for the Pac-12 tournaments. And this team has so much heart to it. They enjoy the game of basketball, and they love everything they get to do. That's what's really different and amazing about this team, and probably one of the main reasons why they were able to push so far in the tournament.
Everything was a cherry on top to this season. They kept on winning these games in the WNIT that they really weren't supposed to.
No, they weren't supposed to do anything this season. I mean, go back to the very beginning of it. You pretty much, from the very start of the season, did not have three of your best shooters on the team, and not only did you do better than you did last year without them, you did better in the Pac-12 tournaments. You got a win, which the Coug men couldn't do, and you got in the WNIT tournament, you took it all the way to the Final Four. That is impressive.
Yeah, no, it really was an incredible season, if you will, even though they did finish with a losing record and 20 losses. And that's the thing that's pretty amazing when you consider the fact that, hey, if they weren't the 7th seed in the Pac-12 tournament, because they were tied, I believe, with Colorado and a couple of other teams at, just 7 Pac-12 wins, if they didn't have that tiebreaker over them to be the 7th seed, then they wouldn't have been the first team in from the Pac-12 to the WNIT, and I doubt they would have gotten an at-large bid. I should say. They probably wouldn't have been even invited to the WNIT anyway, and yet they proved that they belonged.
Well, here's the big thing with that is because of all of this, that this entire year, the stones have not fallen in the right place for the Cougar women. Like, they've lost some of their best players. They've fallen on a lot of hard times. And as soon as they finally just kind of embraced it, that's when they started winning. That's when they started playing like a more cohesive unit. That's when the Pac-12 happened. You got your win, and it carried all the way towards the WNIT tournament. But the big thing that I think really goes to say with all of this is that because you didn't have your top 3 scorers this year, next year is going to be a special year for this team. If they're able to play this well without some of your best people, not only does that mean you don't have them, that means that other people on the bench get playing time and get a lot more playing time. So now this team that we see right now has a lot more experience and a lot more depth than you would see a lot of other teams.
Barring injury. That's just what I'll say, and I will say that as the asterisk every time. I am just as excited as you are, but look, they would have been a good team this year had they not been injured, so you got to say barring injury every time.
But next year, I want to say, and I want to get an early prediction on you. Next year, the Coug women are going to be invited to the NCAA tournament and possibly ranked.
I'm not to the ranked part yet.
That's it. That's my prediction. With how strong this team has been able to play, how they've shown this postseason, how they've been able to play. Then on top of that, you add 3 of your best players back into that roster. I think that the NCAA tournament is a must, and ranked is a very strong possibility.
I will agree that it is. Next year will be a disappointment if they don't make the NCAA tournament. June Doherty stated after that loss yesterday that the culture has been changed forever because of this last 2 weeks. For good. I mean, the culture has changed for good. It will be a disappointment if they don't make the tournament next year. And that's a good thing to have those expectations. Welcome back to Colfax, McDonald Park. I'm Spencer Anderson, and with me is head coach of the softball team, Michelle Miller. And Michelle, it's kind of been a up and down start to the season, if you will. You had a doubleheader almost 2 weeks ago now against Pomeroy, and then kind of a week off because of the wet weather, but you got your team out against Liberty, ended up sweeping that doubleheader 11-1, and then 6-5, a closer game the second time around. What were some of the good things you saw from your team, especially last Friday against Liberty?
One of the things I saw was the way that we came out and attacked the ball with our hitting. One of the things we work really hard on is not getting deep in the count. So one of the things I talk to the girls a lot about is when you see that first strike, hit it, attack it, come get it. So they come in and attack the ball, and we work real hard on our offense.
Because of the weather, you guys ended up starting the season without having gotten a lot of practice. So since you've been able to hit the practice field, what are some of those specific things that you've been able to work on with your team?
A lot of ground balls. and a lot of time working on outfield drills, learning how to run out and tucking your mitt as you run, and just really taking fly balls. So being able to hit the ball higher in the air, it sounds like a silly thing. You can't do that in a gym. Also being able to spread out and actually be out in the whole field and not have to be on our knees and try to imagine what a play scenario would look like. So practicing some of those drills has been fun to do out in the dirt.
Because of some of the postponements, there will be 5 games this week, 1 today, 2 tomorrow, and then 2 on Saturday. And perhaps that has given you an opportunity to change your lineup up a little bit, as at least some of the defensive changes. Cheyenne Stokes making her first start at shortstop. What are you looking from her defensively today?
I'm looking for Cheyenne to hopefully not let any balls get past the infield. One of the things we love about playing Colton in a non-league game is that they're really strong hitters. So it gives us really good practice in developing some of those fielding skills in our infield. So I'm looking for Cheyenne to get some practice getting some of those ground balls at shortstop. It also gives Abby some strong practice too in pitching, because they're great hitters. So seeing if she can get some movement on the ball, working on her drop balls, her changeups, and just some throwing some different pitches as well.
Speaking of that opportunity you guys had to finally field some ground balls, I was noticing last week Greta Geyer at third base, a bit of a rough start, had a couple of balls get behind her, but then really made a couple of outstanding plays from third base. Does that just kind of come with practice, do you think?
I think so. So Greta took a year off last year to play some spring basketball, which fared very well for her this last winter when she was playing basketball. But when she was playing softball in the years past when she'd played for me, she was an incredible third baseman. So it was really fun to watch her get back into her groove. So watching her work really hard at practice with a lot of hustle, that's just something that comes with time. And as she continues to progress in practice, it's fun to see her have success on the field in a game. Part of it too, I mean, there's a lot of nerves, and as most people know, I would say 90 to maybe 95, maybe 99% of the game of baseball or softball is mental. You make one mistake and you think, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to get the ball the next time. So it's fun to watch the girls conquer their fear and also work hard and get over that mentality piece. Our motto this year that the girls picked was do work, because we work and work and work. But I love that they picked basically 2 verbs. Do work, because they work so hard, but they're doing it. And so it's fun to watch them do work so hard at practice, but also continue to do it on the field. So I think that's what she's doing. And I get to see them all do it in different aspects, but watching them blossom and bloom and see the things that they're doing, like, yeah, our left field side today is going to get a lot of work from Colton. So I'm excited to watch how it's going to pan out today.
And speaking of her, not only defensively, but at the plate, through 4 games, has a home run, a triple, and 2 doubles, was up for Lewiston Tribune Player of the Week, or Prep Player of the Week last week. Is that just a testament, or kind of what is that a testament to her ability to play on both sides of the plate?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, she's a strong player, and she works hard at what she does. I would say that about all the girls on our team, but definitely to see her step into, taking a year off, like I said, and then coming in and working really hard, it's fun to watch her have some success in what she's doing here.